So, man, loving your videos, man. You're traveling all over the world. You're doing a lot of big things right now, and you seem, I don't know your age, I didn't ask you, but you seem to be so young to be so, influential already in the dance scene. But I kind of wanted to start from the beginning, if you don't mind. When did you start dancing and why did you start?
Yeah, sure thing. So before dancing, I was actually into basketball. That's what I was doing. I was training every day. So I think that's kind of where I built my discipline in the beginning to start kind of treating a subject with discipline and consistency because I think that's very, very important if you want to be good in anything that you want to do in life. But I got kind of bored of basketball and I was looking to learn how to dance because I'm from Costa Rica
Mm.
and it's very, very popular in our culture that in social parties, weddings, or your cousin's birthday party, everybody knows how to dance. So it's kind of like a thing, like everybody at some point they went to school or a tío or somebody teaching how to dance, and I didn't know, and I was already like about to graduate high school. So prom was coming up, and in prom, they put a lot of salsa, bachata, merengue, all this kind of stuff. And I didn't want to be kind of lost. So I was kind of looking to join a dance school, but I didn't really do it. It was kind of like fate, I don't know, because I was in a food court just, chilling, and then who eventually became my first salsa teacher, he came and he dropped a flyer into my hand and he's like, hey, we're giving out scholarships for high school students. So if you're interested in salsa dancing, well, just visit us this Sunday. And I was like, wow, this is perfect. This is exactly what I've been wanting to do since since a while now that I wanted to learn how to dance. So I went out to the audition. I applied for a scholarship. I got it. And then I never stopped since day one. Like I just got hooked into it, social dancing, going to classes. Um, it was really fun for me. So I guess it just stuck with me.
So how long has it been? How many years you been dancing at this point?
Let me see. And we are in 2024. I think I'm about to turn 9 years.
Oh, okay.
I'm about to in October. It's gonna be 9 years of dancing. Yeah,
And then how long have you been dancing professionally?
professionally, um, 2 years and a half. So I used to that where I learned how to dance was in Costa Rica back
Hmm.
home, and then after 6 years, the first 3 years I just really wanted to learn how to dance, socially, just for social dancing. I started doing a few shows here and there, but after the first 3 years, I really wanted to start to compete and kind of like take it up a notch. So the next 3 years after that, I started to compete as a soloist, couples, a men's team, amateur team, couples, whatever you can imagine. I was there. Um, and then after that, but I was always as an amateur level, like as a student. Um, so after those 3 years competing, then I decided to move to New York to kind of learn better because the style that I love is Mambo or Salsa New
Hmm.
York style.
Hmm.
So I was like, if I want to get better at this, I'd rather go to, where it comes from. So no better place in New York City to learn this style of salsa.
Hmm.
So I really wasn't looking to become a professional. I just really enjoyed dancing and I just wanted to learn the technique and if I'm gonna spend so much time doing this that I love, I want to learn how to do it good. I want to enjoy it. So I decided to go to New York, and then after about 3 months living and learning here in New York, I got an opportunity to start to teach, and that's how I went pro. But uh, that was once I was here already in New York, about 2 years, 2 years and a half. Yeah, since I moved here.
Man, that's awesome, man. How did you pick the studio when you moved to New York City? Because I'm sure there's probably so
Hmm.
many options there.
Yeah, there's so many great studios here and so many amazing teachers. Um, I really love when I get the chance to take class with any of them, really. But I guess when I decided which school I wanted to go to, it happened because there was a competition in
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, which was Eurozone in 2021, right? That was December 2021. I wanted to, I just went to compete there, and it happened that one of the surprise artists of that event was Adolfo Inacochea, and the Latin soul dancers that went with him. It was Adolfo, Tanya, Lorenita, Charlie, Brianna, Angel, and Steffi. So they went to Mexico. They were like the surprise artists of that event. And I was just like, it's insane to watch them live. I already knew them from videos, social media, but I had never seen them live. And I just love the style. That was like very still New York style and like Mambo, but with a more modern kind of hit with more energy. And I really love that powerful vibe. So I think that's the moment where I saw, okay, I gotta go with these guys. And that's how I decided to
Yeah.
join Empire. Yeah.
How was that transition for you coming from Costa Rica to New York and starting dancing with them? Was it like a natural transition for you, or did you go through like a rough patch in the beginning?
I think it was very smooth because here in New York City, you find a lot of diversity. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have all kinds of different types of cultures. There's especially a very big Latino and Hispanic community here. So, especially if you go somewhere where they dance salsa, you're gonna find a lot of Latinos and Hispanics.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it wasn't that much of a culture change because everybody in the school, almost everybody spoke Spanish. Everybody danced salsa. Everybody was into social dancing training, which is the same type of environment that I was in back home. So that's the great thing that
Mm-hmm.
I think I was able to fit right in, like into the culture here. Um, just for me, if well, the people that know me know that I'm kind of shy, kind of like introverted a little bit. So definitely moving to a place where I didn't know anybody was a little bit hard in the beginning because I don't have any family here. I didn't really know anybody, no friends, no family, nothing. So for me, that I'm a little bit shy, I guess it was a little bit tricky at first to kind of,
Mm-hmm.
make new friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I did receive a lot of love here. Um, I made some very, very special friends that I will cherish forever. So I think that was really beautiful about being able to join the community here. And so yeah, I don't think it was a rough transition at all. It was kind of like it was meant to be. Everything was smooth.
Very nice. Very nice. What helped you to progress in your dancing? Like, were there any particular aspects of training that you would highlight that really made a difference and kind of like helped you to get to that next level?
Yeah, I think cross training was very important um, for me. I know that it's very common sometimes. Some studios are like, okay, you can only learn here, and you know, you can't go anywhere else, or you can't go to any socials or parties or other teachers or other schools. But it was weird because when I saw like I think the top dancers that I could think of, I would always see them taking classes with all of the other big masters and big teachers and big names.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, that's a little bit weird. Like, okay. I never I never followed that rule, even if like maybe some directors wouldn't like it or would feel a little bit icky about it. I don't care. Like I thought this is my journey. This is my dance career, and I'm always gonna look for the best to train. It doesn't matter if it's here in my home studio or if it's in a congress or if it's in another school because they're doing a special kind of workshop event. I will always try to um, share and learn from everybody because I think it really opens your mind. Imagine like going to college and just having one teacher the
Right,
whole course,
right,
you
right,
know.
right.
Like you can't assume that he's like a god that knows everything that you're ever gonna need ever.
Yeah.
It's impossible. Even me for my students, I always tell them, look, I can teach you this, this, and this, because it's what I've specialized in.
Hmm.
But maybe in this routine that you have, you want to include this element, I recommend that you go to this teacher because he's gonna know how to teach it a lot better than me. And I think um, we have to be very humble and always keep in mind that our students' growth is the most important thing, not, me keeping my student just because I want more money or I don't know, or I want to control him or it's an ego thing. No, I mean, I think the best teachers are those that really put a focus in your students' growth and prioritize that over everything else.
Yeah, no, I resonate with that 100%. I think it's a very selfless approach. Students who hear that from you, they probably feel like, okay, he actually cares about my success as a student, and so they
Mhm.
probably, I would imagine they'd probably be open to come back to you more often than not as a result.
Yeah, exactly. I think once they are able to go and like learn what they want, they're like, okay, I did learn this, but I really enjoyed what he was able to teach me in this area. So I'm gonna come back to him for this.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's just really hard for one person to know everything. Like we try our best to educate ourselves and train, but we're not a omnipotent source that knows all knowledge to be able to control somebody like that. So um, we always do our best to teach everything that we can, but we also have to be humble to know what we don't learn or what we don't know, and when maybe the student needs help from other teachers and other colleagues. And I think it goes the same way. Like if other teachers maybe recommend me for certain things, you know.
Mhm.
So I think that's an amazing way that we can all grow together.
You mentioned cross training that you've done to become a better dancer. What specific workshops or training you've completed that really helped?
Yeah, I think, for example, in my second school in Costa Rica, there, even though I always enjoyed more of like a Mambo and New York style of dancing,
Hmm.
they were very focused in more of a Cuban influenced type of
Hmm.
salsa. They would teach a lot of rumba and a lot of Afro-Cuban. And I did that for 3 years. And I think even though it's not the style that I decided to go with, it did help me a lot with learning how to control my body, from my arms to my fingertips to my toes to how I open
Hmm.
my chest and all my body movement. Even though I'm not maybe in my routines using the steps that they use in Afro-Cuban, it did allow me to learn how to control my body in a different way that I can now apply to my style. So I think that's the most important thing about cross training. It's not that you're gonna focus or change your focus or change your style of dancing for somebody else. That you're gonna copy somebody else because now you're learning from them, so now I'm gonna do everything like they do it.
Hmm.
No, it's learning how they think and the skills that they use to then apply it how you want in your own way, in your own style, and how to make yourself more unique because now you're open to more ways of doing things instead of just what you already know. So I think that learning Afro-Cuban rumba was very, very important for me to be able to learn how to use my body and then apply it in the type of salsa that I like to use. I think that was very important.
So when you learn these styles and when you then try to apply them later, I'm wondering, is this process sort of like you intentionally have to think about this and how to put it in, or does it kind of like comes out naturally out of nowhere? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is it something that you have to kind of sit down and figure out? Is it like kind of in the middle, or you didn't expect that at all? Like it's kind of like does it on its own?
I think it kind of like happens on its own because I feel that every time that you go and learn from somebody different and you learn from
Hmm.
them, it's like you unlock certain moves or certain ways or techniques to do maybe a same move.
Hmm.
But now when you're choreographing, you're like, okay, I need to do this move, but now I have unlocked maybe or learned different ways to do this move. So
Hmm.
now it's gonna fit in naturally because you have opened your mind to more knowledge. So you have kind of more like tools in your box to be able
Hmm.
to do the same move.
Hmm.
So it kind of fits in. And it's funny because it happens to me a lot anytime I go take a class with somebody new or learn somebody different, and then I start to do a choreo of my own. It's like, okay, wow, this that I just learned fits perfectly right here with the music. So I can apply it there, I can use it there. Um, but if I were to only do the same steps, learn from the same teacher, I would have a lot less resources and a lot less tools to be able to choreograph or teach a class.
Hmm.
I would be a lot more limited in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting concept, because learning different things, it almost sounds as if it becomes part of you. And then, like you said, the toolbox is larger, but now it's not it's not just about choreography piece, if I understand it correctly. It's also about the fact that now when you dance, you are becoming this far more versatile dancer.
Mhm.
And then you can just kind of pick and choose and plug things in when necessary, like this,
Yeah.
right? Really fast.
Yes. I like something
And it's such an interesting concept.
that, yeah, I really like something you just said that it doesn't apply only to dancing, it also applies to teaching. When I listen to a teacher, how maybe he's gonna break down a move with sounds because that's the way he hears the move.
Hmm.
Maybe there's some students that are gonna learn that way better. Not everybody learns the same way. Maybe a teacher is gonna explain something with counts. Maybe he's gonna explain with sounds, or maybe he's gonna explain it to the pattern that a certain instrument does. So the same way we can learn how to apply new moves when we learn from other teachers, we can also learn different ways of teaching, different ways of
Hmm.
making our students learn in a better way because not everybody learns the same. And I think the more ways you know how to teach something specific, the more students you're going to be able to reach out and help them out. So that's also pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. So now that you're teaching, which ways you find more effective, or I guess your favorite ways to teach?
I think I well, it depends a lot on the class. For example, if it's a personalized lesson with just one student, in the beginning
Hmm.
there is a phase where you have to get to know them a little bit and understand how their brain works a little bit and how they learn the best way,
Hmm.
and then adapt the material that you have to be able to teach it
Hmm.
in a way that they will understand the best. If it's a group lesson, I enjoy to kind of very quickly try like three different methods of teaching what I'm gonna say. So, if, for example, if I have um, a footwork combination that I'm gonna teach, I can first teach it with numbers, then I can teach it to instruments, and then I can teach it by saying the names of the steps. For example, for somebody, it's gonna be easier to learn 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. But for
Hmm.
somebody, it's gonna be easier to learn with the pattern of the conga, kukun, ipaka, chica, kunkun, ipaka, chica, because they listen more to that. And
Hmm.
for somebody else, it's gonna be easier to learn su, si, q, isu, si, q, su, si, cross, cross, su, si, q. Everybody will connect more with one different style. So I think I try to do that a little bit when I'm teaching one step, like just quickly try to say it in different ways so that it can resonate with everybody in general a little bit better.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. How did you arrive at that methodology of teaching? Was it trial and error to where you kind of figure out as you went?
I think there was something that really helped me become a better teacher was a period of time that I worked here in New York. I think it was 2023, the last year,
Hmm.
and end of 2022. I worked for I think about 6 to 8 months in a ballroom studio. Okay, and when I joined this ballroom studio, I was employed to teach salsa and bachata, but also different styles of ballroom. Okay, but I had to be trained first because I have no background in that. So they had to train me first in those styles, at least at a basic level, to be able to teach students how to how to dance these styles. Okay, but part of the what I love about this scene is that it's so structured that they have books that are this thick, like on how to dance level one waltz, you know? And it's like crazy that you think there is a book like super thick about just level one, and then you open the book and it's
Right.
like, okay, this step on the number one, you're gonna step with your right foot in a certain way. Okay, now number two, you're gonna step with your left foot in a certain way. So it's super detailed and concise and rich and full that I was like, wow, okay. Like imagine if we had this in salsa, it would be crazy. It would be so so easy to teach and so full of knowledge.
Hmm.
And part of also this ballroom school, what they would do is they have been they have been around for a very, very long time, you know, hundreds of years.
Mm.
So if you compare it to salsa, salsa is just a little baby that is being born, while, you know, ballroom dancing is already centuries and centuries old. So they're a lot more mature. And I think part of the training in this school is they had a teacher's training, you know, and part of this teacher's training, they would allow you to understand how a student can learn in different ways, how you can
Mm.
speak to them, how you can give them positive reinforcement to do certain types of things and not others. Okay, how to keep them engaged throughout their learning process. So being exposed to this industry, I think, helped me become a better teacher, but in what I do, that is salsa. So you see, that's another example of cross training that that helps
Yeah,
you, that helped me a lot.
yeah, yeah, most definitely. Speaking of training, I saw, I think, a post on YouTube channel, your YouTube channel. You're doing training this weekend, right?
Yeah, this weekend on Saturday, I'm gonna be doing a footwork workshop. It's gonna be 1 hour and a half, and it's basically um, a class that is gonna be from advanced beginner level all the way to intermediate. It's gonna be progressing, and the way I like to teach my classes is that first I like to teach the steps that I'm gonna do, then explain the technique that I use to be able to do these steps correctly or not correctly, because I think there is no one way to do a step, but just the technique that I use.
Mm.
Um, I like to explain it. So first I teach the step, then I teach the technique
Hmm.
that I use for the step, and then I will give some drills on how you can improve the technique that I'm using. Okay, so it's kind of like a three-way part. Okay, and then I keep progressing on the combination, but always keeping that kind of structure, you know, first the step, then the technique, and maybe some drills for the technique that we're applying, and then continue to advance throughout the combination, kind of like a regular workshop style class, but it's gonna be live, so it's gonna be completely online because I think something I found very common is now that I've been traveling a little bit more is that the access to information is not that not that great, you know. Maybe there's some cities or maybe there's a dancer in a certain city that wants to learn a specific style, but because he lives so far away, thousands and thousands of miles away, you know, he doesn't have a teacher that specializes in that style in his area.
Hmm.
So I think online teaching and online lessons are very good for this. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll try to do a workshop. And it's amazing how there's people from all over the world sign up, you know, from Latin America, Peru, Chile, to people in Saudi Arabia, India, somebody in Asia. It's like Europe, you know, super random. So you never know when somebody's gonna need it, but I think it's a good thing that we're able to reserve this space and be able to teach so that students who love salsa all over the world can also learn and practice and improve and continue to grow their communities where they live, you know, not just have everybody move to or come to New York City to train, you know, which is super
Yeah,
expensive.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Power of technology that we have at our fingertips is empowering, that's for sure. Can you tell people how to register for the workshop?
Yeah, so just you can just send me a DM and I will send you a link for you to be able to book your spot. And I will add you to a WhatsApp group where we're coordinating everything on how to join the class. But pretty simple. Just send me a
Okay.
message and I'll help you book.
Okay.
Send you the link to book the
And
spot.
sweet, sweet. And you using Zoom or something else, a different software for the live class?
Yes, Zoom. I enjoy using Zoom because I'm able to see all of the students as well and give a little
Hmm.
bit of live feedback on the spot. And it also allows me to download the class at the end, so it's saved.
Hmm.
So in case they did or they want to redo it or they want to visit a certain specific part of a class that they weren't able to catch so much like easily in the moment, they are able to go back. So that's why I enjoy using Zoom for that.
And one more thing about this. So once you record it, will people be getting the recording of the class as well?
So we have a WhatsApp group for the workshop. So what I will do is I will send the link of the download for the class in the WhatsApp group, so everybody is able to access it.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. You've mentioned some of the instructors who've inspired you. Who are your role models or inspirations? Maybe currently and maybe in the past. Who are these people in the dance industry?
Wow. Okay. There's so many that I could not say all the names, but I think everywhere I travel and everywhere, every chance that I get to just sit down and watch the shows, like I get inspired from almost anybody that has the bravery to get up on stage and do their thing. But I think the biggest inspirations that I have in the salsa scene would be, of course, Adolfo, mi maestro. Um, he's probably one of the biggest inspirations that I have. Also, Tito Hortos. I love his flavor. I love his style, his cleanliness, his elegance. I think everybody can just learn and enjoy a whole afternoon of just watching him perform or social dance. It's just insane the level of skill that he has. Um, Also, Rodrigo Cortázar. In the pandemic, I was able to take or join his online school. He also has an online school, Rodrigo and Asia Academy. And in the pandemic, I was, super depressed because I wanted to dance. I think most of us that were dancers at the time, we were used to going to socials, going to class, and have everything shut down for. It depends on where you live, but where I live, everything was shut down for about 8 to 10 months. No dancing. After
Mm-hmm.
dancing every single day, I was super depressed.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, so I found his online school and I was able to join for a moment and learn from him. And um, what I loved about learning a little bit from Rodrigo is how he taught me how to present myself when I am dancing, talking about posture, about lines, about being kind of like a frame to your partner when you're dancing socially. So being able to, it's one thing to be able how to dance well, but I think as a performer or as a teacher, you also have to present that to an audience, right? Because we also have the aspect of dancing to crowd. So I think some of the things he would say during class, it was very helpful for me to change my mindset on how I can display the way I'm dancing to a crowd so they can enjoy it a little bit more. Um, and also his technique on connection with a partner is incredible. Is incredible. So I think that helped me be able to connect in a smoother way with my partner, right? Not pulling but I think it goes both ways because he's able to teach how the lead should feel the connection and also how the follow can connect with the partner so it doesn't feel heavy or it doesn't feel um, slow.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to do this crazy fast partner work, but it's always smooth. It always looks smooth. It doesn't look like he's pulling or there's tension. No, he's always very, very smooth in his partner work. So that's also a big inspiration for me. There's one more. There's one more. Tito, Adolfo, Rodrigo. Who is it? I can't remember. If I remember, I'll let you know. But because I always
Okay,
think about this. I always think about this. Who are like my favorite dancers, the ones that I enjoy watching the most.
yeah, I'll come back to you probably.
Yeah. Ah, Juan Matos. Juan Matos. Juan Matos. Oh my God. He's so passionate. Like when you see him perform or even dance in wherever he is in his living room, in his office, in a show, it's like you can tell that you're watching his emotions. And as dancers, I think that's one of the hardest things to do, to transmit what you're
Mm.
feeling. We can learn steps, we can learn moves, we can learn choreographies, but to be able to transmit emotion while doing it, it's it's not easy. And I think he's got it. So uh, with his dancing, he's able to allow the audience to feel what he's feeling. If he's well, he says it a lot. I love it. He's making love to the music. I can tell. I can see it in his body. He's transmitting that to me. Or if he's sad or he's angry, I can feel it with him. So it's incredible to watch him teach and perform. So I think I love that emotional side from him that I really enjoy watching him. Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you transfer a feeling or an emotion to to a crowd? How do you do that?
I think you must allow yourself to feel it deeply first, right? If you smile to a crowd just because you should be smiling, you can tell. You can tell, like you can tell. But I think it's when a performer is so comfortable with his technique that he's not thinking about the steps anymore, and he's now just listening to the music and really feeling what he's dancing, whether he's enjoying it or he's experiencing grief or sadness. When you're not thinking about the steps anymore and you're focused on the music and what you're feeling, that shows. It's like kind of when you watch a little kid dancing, that he's having a good time. He's not thinking about the
Hmm.
step or he's not thinking
Hmm.
about the technique. He's just dancing and he's enjoying himself because he's thinking about what he's feeling, you know? He's not thinking about what he's displaying. Because when you force yourself to display something, it's not natural. It's not natural. But when you're really having a great time, I think one of the best performances that I've had, I always remember like the feeling. I finished the show and I'm like, wow, I felt like I was flying in the clouds. I don't do drugs, but I think this is what being high feels like. Yeah. Uh, yes. So like really having that connection with the music and enjoying what you're feeling and not being constricted in thinking about technique or not because you don't have to use technique, because you already practiced your technique, because you already have it in your muscle memory. So now you can focus on the music and whether it's dancing with your partner in connecting with that. But I think the most important thing is allowing yourself to truly feel what you have inside while you listen to the music, while you perform the moves. And if you feel it inside, people will be able to see outside.
I love it, man. This is really this is really a great piece of information from you. So you mentioned not thinking to allow yourself a feel is not thinking about steps and technical aspect of the dance. Do you recall how long it took you not to think about steps anymore? You muted for some reason. Can you hear me? Oh, here we go. You're
And
back.
now,
You're back.
yeah. Can you say it again, sorry?
Yes. So I was saying you just gave a great piece of advice or just share a great piece of information, as far as allowing yourself to feel and not think about steps anymore and technical aspect of the dance. Do you remember how long it took you through training to get to the point where you did no longer thought about steps or worried about technique?
Yeah, well, if you're talking about a choreography, I think every time you do something new, you kind of re-enter that space that you're thinking about the technique and the
Mm-hmm.
steps. So I think it's not that after maybe 2 years I stopped thinking about technique and moves and I could only feel. But no, rather than a process every time you're doing a choreography, you have to get through that phase, especially if you dance with a partner that you're able to do the combination or the footwork. But now that it's such in a good space of muscle memory that you're able to to allow yourself to feel. But I think it's also um, something that I hear a lot of dancers say, like, especially a lot of students, that they say, yeah, but this is a new choreo, so I wasn't feeling it. I was just uh, thinking about not messing up.
Mm-hmm.
Or the floor was too slippery, so I wasn't able to perform because the floor was too slippery and I was thinking about it. Or my costume was a little bit loose, so I wasn't able to perform. I wasn't able to, there's always something. There's always something. So it has to be a balance. I understand if you're learning something, yes, there is gonna be a, a thought process going on in your mind about memory, about remembering the steps. But I think, for example, professionals are able to, even, for example, I have sometimes to perform a brand new routine within 4 days because I have a show and I have to do a challenge or I have to do a routine from somebody else that I learned and I'm gonna be performing. So even though I'm thinking about it, or even though the floor is slippery or the costume feels a little bit loose, nothing is ever gonna be perfect. So if you always block your mind to be like, okay, unless everything is perfect, I'm not gonna dance full out or I'm not gonna transmit what I'm feeling. No, I think it should be the opposite. The opposite. The opposite. Even if you're just
Mm-hmm.
learning something, you know, I don't care. Like you gotta perform like you've known this for your entire life, because
Mm-hmm.
there's gonna be somebody in the crowd that is gonna be watching you for the first time ever. Maybe it's the
Mm-hmm.
only time they're gonna see you until like 1 year after or something. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that you should always give your energy to the maximum.
Mm. It's a great advice, man. It's a great advice. As far as like the partner work versus individual work, I'm curious, how much time or what's the ratio between the partner work and individual work that you spend? And do you think there needs to be one a little bit predominant over another one, or is it just depend on the dancer and the goal at hand?
Mm, Give me just 1 sec to turn this back on. Here we go.
Nice.
Partner work and footwork. This is super important because I think I enjoy both. I enjoy both. Um, both are really footwork is really important for being able to develop your weight transfers that you also use in partner work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not able to even dance with your own body or with yourself, when you dance with a partner, it's very common that you start to rely too much on your other person for balance, and that's not good either. Okay?
Right.
But I think we're also reaching a point where we're doing too much footwork, too much footwork. So now the partner work dancing is decreasing in level. Okay. I this is very common in Latin America. Not so, I haven't seen it that much in the US or in Europe or Asia, but definitely in Latin America because it's very big on competitions. We have a lot of the solo categories, right?
Mm,
And it's amazing. I competed so many times as a soloist myself as well, so I understand. I love the feeling of doing a solo piece, but I think that the partner work level has been decreasing. So once we get to the social dance floor, the you know the dances are not that great. So people are starting to get away from social dancing and more focused on performing and competing. So I think that's hurting the scene a little bit because this is a dance that was born in the in the clubs,
mm,
like salsa dancing is something that was meant to be social dance focused first, and then down the line maybe have a few shows. But now we have, which is amazing. I love that there's new students that want to perform and they want to improve and they want to learn these skills to become better individual performers and dancers. But if that's the only focus that you have when you go to the social, there's not gonna be anybody there. If there's no social dancers, there's nobody to watch your performance, you know? And I see it a lot, that maybe there is an event that there is maybe 200 people,
mhm,
and out of those 200, 150 are performing,
mm,
right? And
mm,
because they're performing, they don't want to go social dance before their show, or
mhm.
because they need to get ready.
Right.
So then you got an empty social dance floor. And then maybe out of those performers, most of them are soloists. So when they finish their show, they leave.
Mm,
So there's
mm,
no social party. Okay, so I think that's what's happening a little bit. That we're focusing too much on footwork, but the event itself needs social dancers to be able to exist, you know?
right.
So it's kind
Right.
of a tricky spot that we're in. Um, I think also it's very important for teachers. It's our responsibility to learn better partner work technique, so we're able to teach it to our students, educate them, and make sure they enjoy a social dance. Because if I'm a teacher and I don't instruct myself or I don't educate myself on how to do good partner work,
Mhm,
if I teach bad partner work, I'm sure those students are gonna hate dancing partner work
mm,
because it's gonna feel super like they're fighting on the dance floor,
mhm,
and that's gonna make them want to go solo dancers, only do shines because they don't want people pulling them or hurting them. So I understand that, but I think it's the responsibility of the teachers to educate yourself on partner work dancing and be able to create the community of social dancing, so then there can be the performer side of the industry, right? Not the other way around, because if you only focus on the performances, there's not going to be an event to watch the performers. So yeah, it's kind of paradox. Yeah.
Nicely put, man. Nicely put. And you teaching at the Empire Central Movement NYC Congress in August, right?
Yes, that's the New Year Congress in August. I think the first week of August.
Nice. So I'll be seeing you there, man. I'm gonna
Oh,
take you.
really?
I'm gonna take your workshop, bro.
Awesome. I think
So
I have two.
yeah,
I have for partner work, and then I have
nice,
shines one.
nice. So we'll have to do two, bro. Um,
Yeah. So you're in Orlando, right?
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you were there when I went. There was one time I went to perform in Santo Rico, actually. That was 2022.
No, no, no,
I don't
no.
know if
I
you were there
started in
yet.
Santo Rico beginning of this year, so no.
Oh, okay, okay. Yes,
Yeah.
I remember there was something happened and it was like a very last minute thing for me. Like they told me, "Hey, you're gonna fly out. You're gonna perform in, I think it was a Santo Rico anniversary."
Hmm.
And it was like I was brand new to New York and I had all these crazy names in the room. It was Tomas Guerrero, so Juan Matos was there, and Edson Denise were there, and I was like just moved recently to the US, so I was like performing like two couples with all of these amazing names in one social. It was a very crazy night, very nice energy. So I
I
was able to
bet.
go
I
to your
bet.
school.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Well, man, I want to be respectful of your time. I definitely can talk to you all day. You're definitely super thoughtful and interesting, interesting person to talk to. But is there anything else you would like to add in closing?
Um, no, I just want to say thank you for giving this space. I've definitely enjoyed a lot of the content that you've been putting out. I've been watching all these interviews from Magna, Neri. It's definitely something that we need because, as you said, technology is a very powerful tool, and I think be able to connect with these amazing masters and learn the way they think and what helps them perform or dance the way that they do is something very useful for a lot of us, including myself. So thank you for having this space to share with all of us.
Most definitely. Thank you as well for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it. I know that you're super busy with everything.